Welcome. I'm Christy King, your host of the FanReach podcast. Each episode features conversations recorded over several weeks with experts in the sports entertainment business. From former NFL players and current sports business experts Kenyon, Rasheed, and Brian Jones, to FanReach's leadership team, you're going to hear insightful and instructive observations on the present and future of technology in the sports business. I hope you enjoy this podcast enough to look for more great conversations from us in future episodes. You can also follow FanReach on YouTube and LinkedIn to keep up with the latest in sports mobile app technology. Let's get started. FanReach is obviously not trying to be all things to all people. It's trying to be a best-in-class service for teams and venues that really want to reach business goals that are of the future. They're trying to grow. They're trying to, really help teams reach the KPIs that matter to their business units. So you guys are obviously very business oriented as well and understand that connective tissue in technology between fans and sponsors and teams and venues. How did you find FanReach, and what was it about their offering that was so interesting to you?
I found FanReach. I couldn't even tell you how I found them because I research every day new technologies out there. There's 4,000 new technology companies trying to get into sports. And after a while, they kind of look similar. So we basically place them into categories, and then we search out the best in class. The hardest thing to do is for a company, and especially a technology company, to come in, have a piece of software or a piece of the business model that doesn't necessarily fit the other pieces, which is why we live in a fragmented business model around sports business right now. What COVID has done, however, is change that narrative, because as teams and venues look to go cashless, which 5 years ago, we were out telling teams they needed to go cashless because that device is your new point of sale, that device is your new ticket, that device is your new parking validation. Then who are the companies that are building that architectural within the mobile app for you? Because if it's not built right, it doesn't work together. And if you want to create experiences, personalized experiences, that app becomes your check-in device. And so what was not married up was marketing strategies that came from CMOs and sponsorships and chief revenue officers married with digital activations, right? And so we've had digital content, but we really haven't had digital activations that lead consumers and fans to a end goal. All right. So take me through my journey when I first buy a ticket. I'm buying that ticket and it's loaded in my mobile wallet on my phone. That becomes my whole journey through that whole venue or that game day experience. So I felt it was important to collaborate with FanReach, who is building those platforms, having conversations with the digital teams to bring the best of breed together in a way that leads to these objectives that the teams are actually looking for. So our ability to work with them and then go back to the client, I think, is one of the unique aspects and what makes us a little different than the other competitors in the marketplace.
Yeah, in our quest to construct this aggregated commerce around sports teams, athletic departments, if you're discussing the collegiate atmosphere, we felt like FanReach was the best partner. They had the best solution to bring all those different touch points together. And that's been our goal. As Kenyon said, for the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've been having these conversations. We've been pulling a piece from here, a piece from there, piece from up here, up, down there, what have you. And lo and behold, he called me and said, hey, man, I think I got it. And that's when he located FanReach. And our discussion with teams, it's not to disrupt their current business per se, but it is to revolutionize it, take it to the next step, enhance it. And Kenyon says this brilliantly. We hear all this talk about smart venues, but teams, they still have a dumb business model. You talk about smart venue, but yet you're giving away all the goods to your vendors. They get all that data. That payment processor gets all that information. They know more about your customer, your fan, than you do. Those are the goods right there. So we're trying to impress upon them to, hey, take a different approach. Yeah, you're going to still have your same partnerships, sponsorships, and things of that nature, but you need to take control of that audience. Why is that fan jumping on that plane? Why is that fan staying at that hotel near your venue? Why? Because of what you're bringing to play. You're the draw. So why wouldn't you control all that data? Why wouldn't you have sight lines into that fan and their behavior? I thought of a couple of good analogies. The biopic Ray. Love that movie. Anytime it's on, I watch it. And there's a scene where ABC is trying to get Ray Charles to move from Atlantic Records. Mm-hmm. And what does Ray say? I'm going to have to have my masters to leave Atlantic. I got to have my masters. That data, that's your master. Those are your masters, sports teams. Those are your masters. Why are you giving it away? Why? Why are you giving it? And just think about this. If I'm a sponsor and I'm going to marry my brand to your brand, and you can't tell me who that fan is, where they come from, what they're buying, how they're spending, you have none of that behavior data to share with me, why the hell am I going to give you $1 million or $5 million, throw my name on your stadium? Why? And now with betting on the horizon, just think how much more valuable that information is. If I can go to, bet MGM or whomever and say, hey, this is my fan base. This is what they do. Here are their habits when they're inside my venue. You don't think they're going to say, okay, yeah, we want to partner with you? And so the other movie reference is from another one of my favorites, the late Chadwick Boseman, when he depicted James Brown in Get Up. And he's sitting there with Dan Aykroyd at that outdoor fried fish joint. Man, that fish looked good in that scene. I don't want to say he's sprinkling that hot sauce on it. But he said, man, you see where this is going? You see where this is going?
You better get on that train.
Yes. And next thing you know, James Brown and him, man, they're flying around on James Brown's new private jet because they had a vision, and James Brown knew how to take control of his own career. So we see where this is going, like James Brown saw where it was going. So, and we're not going to disrupt and come in like just overhaul everything you're doing. We're going to come in and enhance what you are doing.
And we want to make teams owners. And I think that is one of the keys. Is one of the questions I always ask is, what do you own? Yeah. Because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, teams were not equipped to run and handle concessions. So they outsourced it. They outsourced it to the Levies and to the Legends and to the Airmarks. And they said, you run our concessions and you cut us a check at the end, knowing that's our audience. And same on the ticketing side. Ticketmaster, you run our ticketing. And Fanatics, you run our licensing, right? And so you have all of these siloed businesses that are supplying data and supplying customer information back to the team, who now has to try to decipher and adapt and move in real time. They can't do it. In some instances, some of the rev share agreements around the businesses of sports, which again, talking about mobile technology, has very little to do with the technology part. But if I have a rev share that I don't get paid, but every month, and I get a ledger of what my customers brought, it's kind of hard for me to react in real time and start developing engagement tools that help them enjoy the experience. And so one of the questions I had to Arthur Blank is, well, why are you not in control of this? And he didn't have an answer, because it was always been done that way. You hire Ticketmaster brings a processor in, they run the ticket. That's the way things have been set up. But if you look at where the industry is going, sports and entertainment districts built around the venue, all based around how do we drive higher conversions off of our fan base around pieces that are outside those 8 NFL games a year. We want them coming to our restaurants. We want them coming to our movie theaters and our concerts and so forth. And we want to leverage the fact that we've developed that relationship to them. It's a model similar to what I say is Amazon. Everybody wants that curated event, 24/7 experience. if you're a team, I would ask you, would Disney allow all of those vendors to come in and benefit off of Disney's customers without Disney benefiting? Disney said, no, we're going to build our own hotel. It's going to be on this property and you're going to stay in our hotel, but we run in that hotel and we run in that transaction because that's our audience. You can stay off property, but they not going to just benefit from our park. Teams and leagues need to start thinking like that. And I think they're moving that direction. And I think FanReach can help accelerate that.
One of the things that's interesting to me in thinking about this and listening to this is, there are certain levels of let's call it thought leadership across the teams. Some teams are really pushing it and really kind of seeing the future and making some bets and winning, and that's great. Other teams are, rightfully so, watching, learning from their peers, what's working, what isn't, and adapting, let's say, secondarily. Both of those are fine. The key is, what do you say to people? You two have obviously looked at FanReach and decided there's something about them that says they're doing it right. They're bringing people the best value. So what is it that you see? You guys aren't coders. You're not programmers. What is it that you see about the FanReach approach that from your sports experience is the right way for teams to go?
Well, first of all, we go in and we sit down with sports teams and we discuss their challenges. We get a handle on where the gaps are, what's needed. And then we in turn go and find a FanReach and we say, okay, here's what's happening in the sports world. What technological capabilities you have that we can align with their objectives.
I'll reiterate what BJ said. What separates FanReach is the team. It's Gabe, it's Jana, it's myself. It's the expertise that is built around the technology, because you have to be able to listen to your customer and not be too big that you're fitting them all inside of a box, because you have a disparity of expertise across all the teams and leagues. Some teams are more progressive. They have a better understanding of mobile platforms and how to activate them. And then you have teams who are kind of wait and see, hey, what is working and what should we be trying? And those are the ones that need the most help. They need a FanReach to say, okay, here are our tools, but more than that, here's how you can activate them based on your objectives from your organization. And then we're going to provide that white glove service and be there for you as things change in the sports world, which basically happens every 5 minutes. And so you want a partner, not necessarily a vendor. So this is where I say FanReach is really light years ahead of their competitors. Is FanReach is interested in being a collaborative partner to make you understand how to reach your objectives, instead of saying, hey, here are some marketing cards, here's a mobile app, and good luck, we hope it works. And if it doesn't, it's not our fault. We take it seriously when we work with our clients. And I think that's evident by the support that we receive from our existing clients and the work that we've done with them. So I believe FanReach is definitely a higher end white glove service type of company, more so than in the competitors that's on the market.
And I think the key is there in that scenario is, what difference does it make? I mean, there's other people out there that are providing mobile apps. Maybe they're cheaper, maybe they do some fancy thing that a team wants. What is it that you see that's happening to the sports industry that makes you know that people are going to need the kind of, I don't know if you would call it mentoring or support or just thought leadership about what is coming on the technology side that will allow these teams to not only please sponsors and make money and provide services for their fans in the venue, but actually take their sport forward and speak to the next generation. Why does FanReach make it possible for teams to actually be forward looking instead of just passing through tickets and making sure people can get a hot dog?
Our whole premise is this: if we can't save you money or make you money, we'll leave you alone. That's how we come at you. That's the goal here, is to save or make you some money and be that partner and not just be an expense, but be a resource. So we understand how this new age fan reacts. We have sightlines into their behavior and sharing that information in a collaborative way, as Kenyon just attested to, and also partnering with an entity such as FanReach together, going in and strategizing and showing that team the new way forward and how to pique the interest of that fan. Either they're going to get on this train or they're going to be left behind. So it behooves them to have these conversations, to understand what's coming down the road. I mentioned betting earlier. That's going to be huge. It's already playing such a robust role in sports, and it's not even fully online. Not even I wouldn't even say 5-10% of it is online currently, and yet look how it has moved the market. So.
I wanted
you're reading or you're following?
I wanted to jump in there on that particular point because you guys said something to me when we were talking the other day that was really interesting to me. And I've actually now repeated it to a couple of FanReach partners. And that is, you guys said that it's not so much that betting isn't about winning money to younger players. It's about engagement. If you lay bets on people running down the field and if they're going to score this basket or they're going to kick this goal, it's more about engagement at different points throughout the story of the game rather than about winning or losing money. That fascinated me.
No one wants to now just be a spectator. They want to be a participant. And so here's what I will say. It's a very difficult task because of the saturation in the market. So put yourself on the other side. You're a digital director at a team. You have on a daily basis 40 companies emailing you that says we have the best mobile platform with the best data. And you have 3 people on your team. How do you vet 40 technology companies that tell you the same thing? It's a very difficult task. And honestly, I don't envy what they have to do because whatever decision they make is looked at from the entire organization that if it doesn't work, who made that decision? So the first step that we have to do is start to understand the role of the other side of the table. What is the digital director trying to get done? How does that tie into the marketing director's initiative of around revenue? Because we can build the best tools in the world. We can give you the greatest gadgets. If you don't know how to use it and how to activate it, then the objectives of what you're trying to get probably won't be realized and the platform will not be looked at as a success. So let's start with the objective. What are you trying to do? You want engagement. Okay, let's look at what you're doing today around engagement. Oh, you want to drive revenue. Or do you want to drive revenue from traditional sources, which are sponsorship? But here's the deal. We've been on the other side of the sponsorship table. As Global Payments, I was asked to write a $20 million check to Legends for the new Rams and Raiders stadium. My question to Legends is, you are claiming this is a partnership. What do we get out of it? Do you know our business? And their answer was, we'll give you some cheerleaders. We'll give you a suite. We'll throw some rockets up in the air. Nothing to deal with the bottom line of my business. And 10 years later, as you will see on every NFL stadium and every NBA stadium, the name changes. Why does the name change? Because expectations up front are mismanaged. So to understand and build a mobile platform, you got to know what sponsors are looking to do. You got to know what the marketing team is looking to do. You got to know how players are going to be marketed on the platform. You got to know next level for sports betting and understand that those phones are affiliates now. They are mining bettors. They want to know who in your demographic is most likely to bet. Now, how do we know this? Because as former players, we're on the other side of a 10-year collective bargaining agreement that had never been done before in the NFL. 10 years. And look at the record number of contracts that have come out of that new collective bargaining agreement. So when I talk to an NFL team, what I do know is they're looking at sports betting revenue as an acceleration of revenues for the league. How do you get the data? You develop a mobile app. The NFL just came out with a mobile app. I wonder why. They want all those people that are NFL fans. They want to tag them. They want to know who they are. They want to know their behavior. Because when it goes back to now, I got to go to a sponsor or I got to offer you a service, I got to actually know what the heck you want to do. That's what FanReach and the mobile platform represents to these leagues and teams. That's how important it is. So what I want people to start understanding is don't look at it as just an app. Because it's not an app, okay? It's behavior, okay? It is a receipt of what you want and what you want to do. So our job is to figure out how to translate that from a platform perspective into a fan engagement experience. And that's where our collaboration with teams becomes so important.
And the two pertinent questions we asked them, are you utilizing your mobile platform as a utility for information, or is this to drive revenue? And it should be the latter moving forward. You're driving all these transactions in your venue, and yet all that information on that fan is going elsewhere.
We'll talk about transactions, BJ, because I'm going to stop you because we haven't even covered that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that transaction. Let's talk about who's running that transaction.
Yeah.
Are the teams running that transaction? Nope. No. You know why? Because Ticketmaster has brought Chase Payments in to run the transaction. And guess who's getting charged for that transaction that doesn't know they're being charged for that transaction is a team. Mm-hmm. So when we come in and we say, let's take a look at your credit card statements just from your ticketing, because we'd like to see what you're actually being charged to run the transaction of your own fan that a third party is running. That comes off your mobile platform. So is your payments hooked into your mobile platform? No. So you're getting data from your mobile platform. You're getting data from Ticketmaster on the transactions from ticketing. You're getting data from your Fanatics retail transactions. You're getting data from your parking transactions, and they're all going to different areas. Does that make sense to you? And I usually step back and pause and say, in a common sense world of business, does that make sense to you? And they say no. Well, why? Because no one's come to you and said your mobile platform should be connected to your payments for which you control and run. That way, every transaction that is run on your platform, the money and the fees that your concessionaire is getting, ticketing company is getting, parking is getting, now is a sustainable revenue source for you. Yeah. Has nothing to do with sponsorship, has to be with I'm maximizing my revenue opportunities from my audience. So with FanReach, what we've done, I've spent 5 years of global payments understanding the payment industry and really reading it from a league perspective and a team perspective of understanding what payment products work together. How do we match that with the FanReach's API so we can go into a team and say, not only can we provide you the mobile app, but we're going to give you the payment platform on the back end, and we're going to help you run the transactions, and all the data is going to go to one source, and that is you. And it's provided by FanReach because that's how the model should have been set up originally.
We just created an additional revenue stream.
At the same time that we're finding the FanReach, that we partner with FanReach, we partner with payment companies. Mm-hmm. Because we're going to FanReach is going to be an ISV for a payment company to offer all the payment products. So teams don't have to do the mobile platform over here, then start to look at First Data and all the payment companies over here and try to blend them together themselves. With us, we're going to do that pre-work for you. We're going to come and offer you a package. And we hope at the end of the day, if you just look at it in terms of what we can make you, what is that return, and what are we saving you in terms of time, money, and effort? Because if we can't get into those prongs and those components to help you, then we probably are not going to be a right fit for you.
Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of the FanReach podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. It's always a pleasure for me to hear the unique perspective on sports entertainment from Kenyon and BJ. Not many of us had the talent to play professional sports, so I feel like it's a pretty instructive experience to hear how they see the industry, having participated in sports as players, commentators, business owners, consultants, fans, and parents of fans, and now as experts helping us more clearly see the intersection of technology and entertainment. Be sure to follow FanReach on your podcasting platform of choice or YouTube and LinkedIn. That way you can keep up with the latest in sports mobile app technology from FanReach.